friends and welcome to my channel IB All Designing Developer. So ever wondered how objects come to life in Java? Well, meet the constructor, the secret handshake between your class and the real world. A constructor is a special method that runs automatically when you create an object. It's like setting up a new phone, giving it a name, setting a wallpaper, adding context all at once with just one setup process. Instead of manually assigning values every time, constructors make it fast, clean and smart. You just say new student and boom, your object is initialized and ready to go. So in this lesson, we will explore default constructors, parameterized constructors and even constructor overloading, all the cool stuff that helps you build flexible, powerful programs. So ready to see Java objects spring to life? Let's get constructing. But before that, remember to hit a like to this amazing video, and if you're new on this channel, want to see more videos like this, remember to subscribe, and after subscribing, hit notification bell so you can get the notifications of all my videos which I will be uploading in future. So now what we are waiting for, let's move to computer screen and let's see how we can use these Java constructors from start. Alright, so we are on the computer screen, and like I've told you that in this video I will be telling you that what are constructors in Java. But before understanding that what are constructors, we need to understand what is this term meaning constructors when we are starting with Java. So if we talk about constructor, a constructor in Java is a special method that is used to initialize objects. The constructor is called when an object of a class is created. It can be used to set initial values for object attributes, and this is the example how you can create a constructor. But before that, you need to really understand that a constructor, when you use in Java, it is called as a special method and it is used to initialize objects. Like if I'm creating any program and if you want to initialize some objects in that program, for that I will be using a special method called constructor, and the constructor is called when an object of class is created. If you have created an class which is having an object, so for that you need to use constructor where it is called, and it can be also used to set initial values for object attributes if you want to do, but it's not commonly thing by setting the initial values for object attributes. If you want to do, you can just see, but if you are a beginner starting with this constructors, I will prefer you to apply all the things which is written in this text, so you will have a good understanding how we can use constructor and how we can just initialize values for object attributes using constructor. Moving down, this is the example how we have created constructor and how you can create constructor as well. First of all, you need to create a main class obviously, and after that you need to create a class attribute. After creating a class attribute, we need to create a class constructor, and it can be a class constructor for main class, but it's not really compulsory. You have to only create the class constructor for the main class. You can create class constructor for any other class as well, but remember the class should be named as your file name. So moving on to my NetBeans IDE, I will be explaining you that how you can just use this constructor when you are working with Java. And remember, you need to just use this IDE if you are a beginner starting with Java. I will prefer you to use this because it has all the features and all the beginning things which a beginner needed. Or you can use some other IDE as well if you are a medium level or advanced level programmer. You can use Eclipse, you can use Android Studio, that are also good IDEs for Java. But moving on to this main.java file, I will be removing my start page. In the previous video as well, when we were just working on class methods, I have told you that what is a static method and public method, and I hope you understand that. So in this video as well, when we will be working with Java, I will be showing you that how you can just start with these all things when you are starting with Java, that what are constructor and how to use it and how to create a constructor, which is really main thing. So first of all, we need to create a main class, after that a class attribute, and after that we will be creating a class constructor for the main class. And you have to set the initial value for the class attribute value as well. Like it can be any class attribute. If you are using this x as a class attribute, so you need to define this x here. If you are using any other value as y or any other variable, so you need to define that variable name here, and in that variable you need to assign a value. It can be integer value or it can be string value, totally up to you. It can be any type of data type value if you want to add. So I will be copying this thing, moving on to my NetBeans IDE, I will be pasting it, and you can just see we have created a main class, we have created a class attribute, and then we have also created a class constructor for the main class, and we have also set the initial value of this x to 5 because I am using this x as my class attribute here. It can be a type of like a string, it can be any type of data which you are using, it can be any type of data type, sorry, if you are using here, but in this case I am using integer data type here, so I have also written, that's why I have written here the number 5, and then I have printed, sorry, I have called this class here of public main so that I can get the output here. So moving on to my main.java file, I will be just pressing right click and I will be pressing run file to see if I am calling this function or if I am calling this class, so what output I am getting here. After running this, you can just see the output we are getting is 5, and obviously we are getting 5 because we are calling a main class here, or you can say we are calling a main method here, and after calling this main method we are printing it through main.java file, and that's the reason only in main class we have written 5, so we are only getting this 5 printed. If you have written some other things here using another variable or another attribute, so you will be getting that values printed as well in your output. It can be integer value or it can be a string value, it's totally up to you. So that's the way how you can just use these constructors when you are working with class attributes in Java. Moving on to my Word document here, this is the way that how you can create a class constructor for main class. And now this is a note written here, like note that the constructor name must match the class name and it cannot have a return type like void. If you are using a constructor name, so remember the constructor name should match the class name if you are creating that, and it cannot have a return type. Like when we use void, so void has a return value, but normally when you are working with constructor and matching it with the class name should not have a return value. That's the reason you don't need to use the void keyword here. Like when we use void, so it means that we are returning a value. And also note that the constructor is called when the object is created, which is really simple. All classes have constructors by default. If you do not create a class constructor yourself, Java creates one for you. However, then you are not able to set initial values for object attributes, and that's really good, and I think that's really compulsory as well for Java if you are creating a constructor. And now when we are working with constructor, when we are creating a class constructor, so there is another constructor when we are working with constructor we use, and it is called as constructor parameters. How we can use constructor parameters, we need to understand that as well. Moving on, constructors can also take parameters which is used to initialize attributes. Like at the top when we are working with constructors, so constructors are only used to initialize values for objects, but here when you are working with constructor parameters, so these are used to initialize attributes. If you are writing any attribute, it can be a main attribute, it can be an integer attribute, any type of attribute. So if you want to initialize that attribute, for that you need to use constructor parameters. The following example adds an integer parameter to the constructor. Inside the constructor we set x, or you can say a variable x, to y variable x equal to y. When we call the constructor, we pass a parameter to the constructor 5, which will set the value of x to 5. Now here I have created one constructor, or you can say a variable of x, and I have set that x variable to y, and I have written x equal to y. And when we will call that constructor of x, so we will pass a parameter to that constructor which will be 5, and then the value will be set x equal to 5, and you will be getting 5 in the output printed by the x variable which you have used, because that is the first constructor which we are using here. I will be just copying this example here which I am using with this parameters of constructor, and moving on to my NetBeans IDE, I will be pasting it here, and after doing it I will be pressing right click and I will be pressing run file, and if I show you, you can just see again we are getting the output as 5 as I told you. And normally when we were just working with constructor, the output was same as we are getting right now, and that's the way that how you can use constructor and get different outputs in your terminal. So I hope you understand how we are using constructors here, how we are using constructor parameters here, and how we are getting different output printed. Moving down, now there is another example that you can have as many parameters as you want. So for that you can use this example if you want to use as many parameters as you want. So you can just use this example there, and the output which you will be getting will be 1969 Mustang, because we are only using one parameter here, that's the reason, but you can use as many as you want. So I will be simply copying this thing here. Moving on to my NetBeans IDE, again I will be pasting these things in place of this public class main, and I will be just I will be running this file by pressing right click and run file, and you can just see we are getting 1969 Mustang because we are only printing this attribute in this main class. If you want to create other attributes, so you can create other attributes and run that as well, you will be getting that printed as well in your output with this 1969 Mustang which we are printed. And that's the way that how you can just use these constructors in Java. So I hope you understand how we are using constructors in object-oriented programming working with Java. And if you understand this video and if you enjoyed this amazing tutorial in which we have used different type of constructors in Java, so remember to hit a like to this video. And if you're new on this channel, want to see more videos like this, so remember to subscribe, and after subscribing, hit notification bell so you can get the notifications of all my videos which I will be uploading in future. So just I will be meeting you in next tutorial or in next video from start. So for today, goodbye.